said, it's not good enough. So they are putting the pressure on the top bosses. Something has to be done. You're spending all these billions of dollars in research centers. What's coming? How can you make the business go? Perfect. 1983, 5-volt technology. That was 1 micron, CMOS. So we scaled them down from, remember I told you my very first technology was about 20 volts. We scaled them to 5 volts. And when you look at the time frame, that's pretty astounding because the very first technology we qualified a bipolar flip-flop cell, 32-bit bipolar chip, big time, 32-bit, only 4 letters in memory, at 20 volts technology, right? And that was 1970, I think, that one we qualified. So within almost a decade, we're talking about 5 volts. So it was not bad. Technology performance was unsatisfactory for system design, I mentioned that. Concern over scalability of CMOS to sub-micron dimensions. So some wisdom says, we cannot integrate the way we're integrating CMOS because there will be no transistor left. The lateral movement. And my good friend who sits back there and talks about thermal budget. He's probably getting recruited somewhere, right? Yes. So, we got a problem to solve. So, and the usual IBM ways, all the experts were pulled together in one place from all the research centers. And big 3D meeting, one after another, each one is espousing their type of thinking. And there was a task force. It consisted of key R&D centers who reviewed these topics. Integration problems. We need a whole bunch of lithographic march ahead programs. We don't have one. That was the message. We must know how to do sub-lithographic patterning and not depend on X-ray lithography. And for that matter, at that point, the UV lithography was only rudimentary. Deep UV patterning, which had developed since, wasn't there. Shallow junction technology we need, and feasibility has to be demonstrated. Because we have to scale every darn thing, including not only gate insulator, but shallow junctions for FET. We must control all these lateral motions. So all the good thinking experts keeps telling what's needed and why they're needed from device point of view, from functionality point of view, all that kind of things. Device design consideration extendability. The device experts spoke about feasibility. One device expert from Fishkill said, I have built an NFET device, and he demonstrated that, which has 0.7 micron channel and good, decent characteristics. He showed to the audience, and his name was Senkyo Burai. He was a colleague of mine. He originally was in IBM in North Carolina, but then came to do some research in IBM Fishkill, in a small tiny group there. And he has this brilliant idea. And he has a patent, by the way, on that what if we control the lateral motion by lightly doping the edges of the diffusion regions. And out of that came what we called double implanted LDD, lightly doped grain. LDD stands for lightly doped grain, and DI means double implanted. So he actually put together some of that and demonstrated that, look, we can reduce the channel length of field effect transistor below 1 micron. So I thought that is a breakthrough. And we showed the, pretty good infant characteristics. Then there are all kinds of people that talked about device scaling levels on various issues. What can be scaled, what cannot be scaled, blah, blah, blah. Device reliability and hot carrier, reliability issues. Okay. All these experts were very well known in their fields. Then there are folks who talked about interconnects and what we have to do in order to speed up the interconnects, especially for logic, and how to architect all kinds of logic flows, etc. Circuit device interactions, device circuit performance issues, the RC and IR issues in circuit performance, yield issues, okay. Product issues and technology application issues. System application guys, they came and gave their spills over networking, telecommunication processors, system on chip, system on package, I/O performance. The I/O performance was pathetic because they were using CMOS. So those were unacceptable. Logic. Drivers, receiver designs, D2A to D converters, and that sort of things. So basically, the entire team has its options all the time. No consensus whether we should be going to ULSI because there's too much risks and too many unknowns. Back in those days. Too much risks, too many unknowns. So it is easy for them to come out and make a conscientious statement. We're not ready. All right. I stood up in defense of Dr. Seiki Ogura and said, look, there exists an existence that field effect transistor can be shrunk and CMOS can be scaled. And then I proposed to the big bosses that I'm going to take some risk, some calculated risk, and remove this technology. I think it can be done. But it takes a lot of risk. So, this can you? So I said, well, to cushion the risk, here is what we do. We have 1 micron patterning technology. It's available, and we just qualified CMOS at 1 micron. So it's going to go into production soon. So all the bugs of production bugs can be ironed out in a matter of time when we are ready to transfer the technology, which means typically 2 to 3 years minimum, not more. So we said we will exercise whether we can do the sub-micron on the same set of tool sets that the production will embrace. So that will minimize the risk. If we cannot qualify the technology, well, I will submit I failed. If we qualify the technology, we will move the frontiers. And it will be all tested in manufacturing flow. I had a pilot line. Thanks goodness. They were talking about eliminating that. Back in those days, IBM was in a crunch and they wanted to reduce the overheads. So my pilot line was going to go away. But then I went to the boss and said, look, extend my pilot line for 2 years. 2 years. This is all I am asking for. And the rest of it is on me. Throw me out if I do not succeed. Same memory and logic will be tested, so I will build the initial qualifications on the pilot line, and then we'll transfer them to manufacturing to do higher volume qualifications, and I'll show you what the stages we typically went through in terms of qualifying technology. There are 4 phases at least we go through. It's a lot of commitment, a lot of effort, a lot of money. To give you some flavor. Memory and logic design will be tested simultaneously on the same sets of design for VLSI and ULSI. And I will drop the power supply. We did some simulations, we did some good thinking, and said we'll drop the power supply to 3 volts, we'll reduce even power, but we will improve the performance. So that was my commitment. Performance enhanced in submicron technology to be demonstrated using an established microprocessor design. There was a design in microprocessor widely acclaimed as a very good architecture, and that was done by IBM French groups, designers, back in those days. And that used to be a benchmark for all the CMOS technology generations. So I will demonstrate the performance improvement on that processor so that nobody can argue that it cannot go. Because everybody accepts that as a benchmark. So that was the story. CMOS. So we will use that benchmark. We'll go through that usual phase of technology developments and test out the technology and reliability. To my delight, the top management accepted that. And you know, it's not a simple decision because this is why. When we do development of the technology generations, it takes typically 5 years. 5 years before it goes into high volume production. And then it lasts typically another 5 years. Because you design a whole slew of part numbers, hundreds of them. And those are produced in high volume, and they eventually go into the systems. So, you are not only committing a large number of people in the development programs at different phases, and as the phase builds up, the number of people builds up, number of disciplines comes in, more disciplines comes in, and more complex sociology comes in with it. And everybody is time driven. Everybody is time driven. So here is a commitment. Every group manager has to commit, he has to do this, and he has to work together. There's no if and but about it. If they don't put up their commitment and they're removed. It's not like government organizations. It's not like government organizations. The industry works even more fiercely at times than military. Every clock ticks is counted, every commitment is counted, every schedule is holy. You have to, once you set up the schedule, you have to meet it. There's no shortcut. But those 5 years, I literally worked 20 hours a day. So it's very deep in my psyche. And my wife used to often call the security and say, "Where is my husband? Is he still there?" And then I have this microphone comes in. Da da da, you know, you're being asked to contact your home. And this was 2 o'clock in the morning. So I had to give her some excuse. We will go home at some point, a few hours later back. That's how it was. The 4-phase development in 5 years. Phase 0. We used a simple set of 1 mask system to show feasibility. The feasibility is something that we said to our management that this is what we expect to deliver at the end of about approximately a year and a half. We show that this is what we achieved. This was the target, this is what we achieved. And we showed that technology can be integrated, that the device is feasible, that some of the basic circuits work, and some of the basic framework, like memory, simple memory, static RAM,